What about the level of unpredictability going forward? So right now it's a very structured environment with councils and package owners and one sense is a planned infrastructure. The community can do what it wants though, can't it? So from Friday onwards, are we looking at a more unpredictable environment as well?
I don't think it will be any more unpredictable. I think that the framework you're discussing, the infrastructure of contribution and governance that we put in place, needs to remain stable. Will there be minor modifications to it to accommodate a change and to accelerate the level of contribution or to accelerate decision making? Perhaps. But that stability needs to remain because it is also the most, what I will call, democratizing force that exists as it concerns the evolution of these assets. So in that way it needs to remain. I think where we will see change is that you will start to see the acceptance of what in the past would have been viewed as some radical suggestions and alterations to the platform.
Right.
So what you will see as an example is a vote will go up, down, and get accepted for a completely new UI framework or for the inclusion of a completely new technology, one that would not have been developed there elsewhere. Or you may see a small collection of device manufacturers in China suddenly just build a plethora of configuration options for the marketplace. And that's the type of wild frontier work I think you'll see moving forward.
And in that wild frontier, do you envisage people taking the OS into other areas like white goods, retail and auto and these kinds of domains?
I think so. One of the key hurdles to that is compilation under a standard compiler, so a GCC compiler. We have multiple teams that have now completed some of that compilation work, so ironed out and debugged some of the initial errors or issues you would have in compiling under that type of scenario or approach. And that is a key enabler for going to other architectures, whether that's an x86 style architecture or some other form of ARM design or otherwise. So I think once development teams in certain shops around the world realize how easy it is for them to continue that work, then they start to be able to take advantage of the keys of what we really provide here. So take advantage of this really mature advanced microkernel, take advantage of the other frameworks that are there, take advantage of, as an example, the level of operator compliance that exists by using this type of code. So yeah, I think you really greatly enhance the potential to see Symbian show up in other consumer electronics goods, in appliance type form factors and otherwise.
Great. And what about your own journey, Lee, from Nokia to Symbian and now to open source? Can you tell us a little bit about how it looks from Lee Williams' point of view?
Sure. I mean, if you were to go all the way back to a personal journey here, you have to go all the way back to the days of a company called B that I used to work with. We had the B operating system, and though it was cutting edge and advanced and all of this, we found a need while I was there to take it into internet appliances. We were a bit ahead of the curve there, and in part we didn't realize that the internet appliance would really show up in mobile and take over the phone world, if you will, well before it would any other type of consumer product category. But all the way back to those days, and then the days at Palm, you're talking to somebody who was on a very personal mission and had a very personal vision to see the concepts of pervasive computing, distributed computing, get out there to consumers, to empower their lives, their lifestyles, to really change forms of communication and interaction in the world. And in this way, you can imagine that coming all the way up through Nokia with the same type of vision and views, and now coming and being privileged to lead the foundation, this type of milestone is essential because we've taken what is the world's most advanced, object-oriented, distributed computing platform that sits in consumer hands, that has a footprint in the marketplace. It sits on 330, 350 million and growing devices in the world, and we've opened it up. If that's not, a key to or a milestone on the way toward opening up the power of pervasive computing for consumers, I don't know what is. So in this way, for me personally, it's a watershed moment. It feels great to see it happen, and it really unlocks the door to just all the rich neat, fun things you can now do out there once people are empowered at this level.